Biohazard Bros Podcast.
Welcome back, fellow survivors, to another episode of the Biohazard Bros Podcast. Yes, we've got both the bros in the house. Colin is finally back from his self-imposed exile, and we are ready to roll.
What's up, man?
What's going on, buddy? Hey, it's been a busy couple of weeks here making podcasts without you. I don't know if you got to see any of them, but some real good discussions with Beggy from Residents of Evil, as you saw some of that. And then my very personal favorite with Anthony Luzzi of LTRE, because I just love that guy.
I haven't seen any of that one at all yet.
Yeah, he's the guy who inspired me to actually do number one. He's the first guy who inspired me. There's three inspirations. I say who they are in the podcast, so if you give it a listen, you'll learn.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to.
But
watch
anyway,
it at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what have you been up to the last couple weeks, man? Anything good going on?
Well, yeah, I mean, Doom: The Dark Ages came out, so I've been playing the hell out of that.
It has.
Which
I played a little bit of it. It's all right.
Yeah,
I don't want to say it's meh, because it's more than meh.
It's more than meh. No,
right.
it's good. I think it's a good game.
Good.
I just don't think it's as good as the last few that came out, the last few Doom games. So, yeah, and even Doom 3, I think I like better. And I know you love Doom 3 and it's your favorite, but
Doom 3's the GOAT.
Doom 3 was my least favorite Doom game, and I honestly think The Dark Ages might be my new least favorite, but whatever. You know, the worst Doom game is still a really good game, though, because Doom is just such a great series. But yeah, that's what I've been doing, video game-wise. And
yeah, that's like saying, oh man, that's the sirloin steak of the bunch. It might not be and sirloin still kick ass. You know?
Exactly.
I get it.
It's still a really good game. So
yeah, you know what I've been up to. You saw it for the last couple nights. I stormed through a speed run of Super Mario Brothers All Stars.
Yeah.
And then I started I tried the Lost Levels. It's just really hard. I have to really focus for that one. So I moved on to Super Mario Brothers 2. I'm going to be doing all three games. Actually, I will do Super Mario World, but that is not a speed run game. It is. It can be.
Of course. Fun. Yeah. That's
it's a lot.
That has a lot of competitors and a lot of high. Like a lot of
a lot of people
it's a big game. Going hard on it. Yeah.
It's a big game. Whereas like Super Mario Brothers 1 and 3 in particular are easy to speed run. 2 is a little more questionable. I like to take my time with 2 because it's personally one of my favorites in the series.
I've never.
So I'm just doing Super Mario Brothers runs, and having fun with that because I'm a little burned out right now playing all the other. I'm saving my horror games that I have on my roster for a little bit later in the year, maybe closer to the end of summer or middle of summer even. You know, summer's here, I'll be out doing shit and won't want to be playing video games a lot. Anyway, this podcast is not about Doom or Super Mario Brothers, even though we love those games.
Of course.
We're here to talk about Resident Evil, and today we're going to talk about Resident Evil 5.
Before we say anything about Resident Evil 5, can I brag real quick? I don't think I actually said this on the podcast, but I got a new PB in Resident Evil 7, Ethan Must Die. I'm on the top 5.
Oh, yeah, 7 minutes and 7 seconds?
7 minutes, 7 seconds for Ethan Must Die. Nice. I'm in the top 5 again, because I was in the top 5 back a few years ago, but then I got bumped down to like number 8 or whatever, and I'm back in the top 5, and that's the only bragging I'll do today, I swear.
Congratulations,
I want to brag
man.
when I can, because I don't get very many opportunities to brag. All right, now we can go to RE5.
Anyways, RE5 was released on March 5th in 2009 to explosive sales records, I think, in the lifespan of the game across all systems, which would include the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. I believe wasn't the Gold Edition released on those consoles as
I don't know. I think the Gold Edition was the PS4, but it could have been PS3 also.
Okay,
I think the Gold Edition was like a next gen thing at the time.
Okay, let's say PlayStation. All right, so let's say PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and then the PlayStation 4 and probably the Xbox One.
I could be wrong about that though.
Yeah, a total of 10.5 million sales, close to 10.5 million sales, making it the former champion in sales
for the longest time, too. For several years, it was, and I feel like a part of the reason why it was so popular is because, well, obviously, it's a good game. Obviously,
it was riding on the hype of Resident Evil 4.
Exactly, yeah. Everybody loved Resident Evil 4, like because it was kind of the same with like Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 7 was like the one that everybody loved, and it got it got everybody into Final Fantasy in North America, Final Fantasy 7. So
Right.
because of that, a lot of people went out and bought Final Fantasy 8, but there's a lot of people that don't like Final Fantasy 8. I love it.
There's a lot of people that don't like Resident Evil 5.
Exactly. But Final Fantasy 8 sold well, I'm pretty sure anyways, but it's usually not looked at as a better game than 7. And that's kind of similar to RE4 and 5. RE4 might not have sold overall as well as 5, but it's usually looked at as a much better game than 5.
I love this game.
I do too. I love
think
RE5.
it's a great game.
I think, yeah.
I think the co-op is the way to play it. I've only ever played it solo one time. It was my first play of it, but way back in the day on 360, I played it solo because I didn't have any. I wasn't on. I don't think I was on Xbox Live at the time yet. Whenever I was playing it on my first run, but in my subsequent runs on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series XS, I've played it with a partner, and it is definitely the way to go.
See, that's funny because that's the exact opposite of me. I've played it with. I've played the majority. Like I must have played that game about 20 plus times now in my life. I got the platinum for it on the PS3 two times, two separate accounts, and the platinum again for the PS4 version. And every single time I played it by myself, and I loved it. I don't. Well, hold on. I loved it, but so I've only ever done like 2, maybe 3 playthroughs with someone else, and one of those playthroughs was with you recently. We played it together. So
that's right. We did a what did we do? A normal run.
Normal,
and then we started.
And then
we started a professional run where we jumped straight to pro.
Yeah, we haven't got that far into it, but I'm down.
We haven't got that far in on that.
I'm down to continue it if you are. But yeah,
I was wanting to play it today a little bit, but I slept in because I was up all night and morning speedrunning Mario. So.
Well, that's understandable. But yeah, back to what I was saying. I just that brings me to my next point. The fact that I've pretty much only ever played it by myself. I don't think it's like a big issue with this game for a lot of people is the AI, Sheva.
Is Sheva's AI the wasting ammo?
I really don't feel like it's as bad as people make it out to be. Like it's not the best, and there are obviously some big problems. But I think, like I said, I've played it. The majority of my playthroughs have been by myself with Sheva being the AI, or sometimes I'll play as Sheva and Chris will be the AI, whatever. Same thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's quite as bad as people make it out to be. I still think playing single player by yourself it can still be a really fun experience. I've thoroughly enjoyed it every playthrough I've played by myself. But yeah, I do think if you have someone cool to play with, like
there could be improvements to the AI.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
Definitely something. So here's the thing, and Anthony made a good point of this in the last podcast whenever I was talking with him about RE5.
Mm-hmm.
Resident Evil 5 would definitely benefit from for those that would choose to play it solo to have Sheva be AI controlled, much like Luis in Resident Evil 4 remake, where he has his own thing, self-contained resources.
That actually is a really good idea, and I wonder if they're going to do that.
It's a very good idea.
I wonder if they'll do that in the
they probably would
in the RE5 remake,
because they know. Yeah, they know. And see,
here's the problem with that, though. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, and I really believe, not trying to jump straight into RE5 remake discussion, but I really think that's next on the docket.
Yeah. I've been saying that for a while too.
There's little sprinkles of.
It's so hard to tell though, because you never know with Capcom. They could just be like, "Fuck you guys, we're not doing any of those. We're gonna remake RE1 instead." You thought it was going to be Code Veronica or 5. Or even RE0? No, fuck you. We're doing RE1 remake again. Like you never know with Capcom.
Think 5 makes the most sense.
It does.
But you were going to say something.
Yeah. I see. I think a problem with that is that then, like, a part of Sheva having, like, you in the original RE5. I say original as if there's already a remake, which there's not. But I'm saying if they do make a remake, yeah, there will be. But when they do make a remake, if they make Sheva kind of like how Luis was with her own stuff, then like it kind of takes away managing like inventory managing with her because the whole
Well, you could still manage your own inventory. You know
you
what I
can
mean?
yeah,
Because
and that
it
would
would
be
still have.
that would be fun and all,
But
but
they would need to improve the inventory management, not just make it to where it's like, oh, I'm going to load up. See, what they would have to do then is add a merchant, which was what they originally intended to do, from what I understand, with the guy you meet at the beginning. But then they fucking killed him off because they're like, oh, guess what? By the way, psych, no merchant. You know, it's like,
dude, oh man,
and I really think that that's what they're going to do.
the things they could do with a remake. What if they
Oh my god.
what if they do that again, kill off that merchant? What you know what they need to do? They need to bring the RE4 merchant back, but they need to make the RE4 merchant kill the merchant from RE5, and he's like, "I'm the only one who sells valuables to you, stranger, not this sack of shit." And then he's like,
That'd be funny.
"I'm taking over this game."
That'd be funny. But they probably wouldn't do that. I think they're going to
Of
keep
course
merchant
not.
exclusive
I'm
to
stupid
4.
and
Yeah.
have stupid ideas.
No, that's not. That's funny. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. But I don't think that.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
think that we'd ever.
It
see
would be
that,
cool
but
if we did.
Definitely might see a merchant
Yeah,
of
yeah.
some
It
sort.
would be cool if that guy that like either the guy that gets killed at the beginning of the game he lives instead, or just somebody else takes his place or something. It would be cool if we did get a merchant in RE5.
Oh, I
remake.
think it's needed because you have to improve the inventory system. Because in Resident Evil 5, the original, you kind of just load up what you, because like, all right, so the ammo and the drops are plentiful. They're plentiful.
Yeah,
Throughout the campaign, across all runs. I don't. They seem like they're okay on veteran, or on pro so far. I'm sure they're a little more scarce.
drops.
The ammo drops and
Yeah,
the
but on
inventory, like the
professional,
health drops.
everybody one hit from anything and anything will they take you down to danger.
Will fuck you up. Yeah.
Professional's fucking rough.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It was rough. It was a rough go. But we were getting there. We were doing our thing, but it was rough. Yeah, because like they're pretty strong. That's how Resident Evil 5 would benefit, is if they didn't have, like, if it was more of a item management and resource like scrounging like in Resident Evil 4, even though arguably they give you a lot of resources in all these games, except for in harder modes.
Yeah.
But still,
well, if they do remake when they remake it, I think they're also not going to want to stray away too far from what the original, what people loved about the original, because then the diehard RE5 fans will be upset by that.
We'll scream foul.
It might please other fans of the series, like, oh, RE5 remake's more like RE4 remake than the originals were, so now I like it. But you'll be losing fans that were.
Well, I mean,
it's
arguably it was the originals were kind of similar anyway. You know,
kind of similar, yeah. But
Resident Evil 5 literally is a copy and paste of Resident Evil 4,
except there's code
as far as mechanically, and pretty much even like items that you get can. You upgrade weapons by finding better weapons than the weapons you previously had. Is, I guess, they're sort of their way of upgrading. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? You find weapons.
So, like, if you have you start with a handgun, then you find a better handgun.
Yeah. That's the same thing in RE4, though. Yeah. Is that's what you're saying, basically?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just saying. They don't what I'm saying, I guess, is they really don't have like an upgrade system for the weapons. It's just kind of.
You do upgrade the weapons, though.
You do?
Yeah, in RE5. Yeah, you can.
I don't remember you upgrade them.
Yeah, you upgrade your weapons in RE5.
You dump money into them to upgrade? Oh yeah, you do, don't you?
Yeah. You upgrade your weapons. Almost every weapon. The grenade launcher, I think, has no upgrades. I could be wrong about that. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. But most other weapons.
We just fucking played this, and I don't remember.
Yeah. When you're in that, like, you know how you finish a chapter and it brings you to that menu where it's like you can manage your inventory. That's where you can upgrade your weapons. You know all the like gemstones we found.
Oh yeah, you can upgrade your weapons.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Now I feel like an idiot.
No, you're fine. They're fine. Everybody has a brain fart every now and then. You're fine.
You and I both. Because it's not like it's because it's not prominent in the game where you run like.
It's because you know why it is. It's because there's no merchant. Yeah, exactly.
There's no fucking merchant.
You do it
on a menu.
Yeah,
screen.
you do it in a stupid menu. We need a fucking merchant.
Yeah, it's just kind of like.
Exactly.
That's why I'm saying that it would be more advantageous to the overall feel of the game and more memorable to have its own merchant.
Yeah, it would.
So that's a good point.
I think they will do a merchant in RE5 remake because You
Yeah,
know, doing it in between chapters in a menu, that's kind of lame. It's fine, and we're nitpicking here, but I do think a merchant would be better. You know, like the Duke from RE8 or
absolutely.
the classic merchant from RE4 and RE4 remake. They stand out, and they become like fan favorite characters too. So that'd be a double
Mm.
win. You'd give it a merchant that you could like upgrade your weapons with, and
Oh,
a new fan favorite character maybe.
I remember now because if you upgrade a weapon completely and max it all out and then do all the shit for
You
it,
can get infinite
when you
ammo.
go in, then you can get the infinite ammo.
Yeah,
Fucking
I can't remember if you have
Jesus
to beat the
Christ.
game first for that. For that to
You
happen.
do.
Yeah, but yeah, pretty sure
You
you do.
do. That
Okay,
much I remember.
that actually just makes me want to bring up another point about the game, is that I
Uh-huh.
hate that there's no way to do a fresh new game save.
So there's a no new game plus?
No, well, once you beat it, you can just go back and play whatever chapter you want. What I'm saying
Yeah.
is that if you want to start a new game from scratch, there's no way to do that except
Oh.
unless you want to just sell all your weapons. But even doing that, it's not exactly the same. So it's like
Because then you got all that money.
yeah, exactly. So there's no way to have like two separate save files. Like one save file where I have, okay, this save file is perfect, everything's fully upgraded, I love this save file, but I want to start over from scratch. So it's not. So I actually have a challenge during this playthrough. You can't have like both. You either have to, you know what I mean, like.
Yeah.
And I've always hated about RE5, and RE5 is the only Resident Evil I can think of that has done that. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they'll take that away. That won't be a problem in RE5 remake. They'll rectify that. Is that the right word? Rectify?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Rectify or improve.
Yeah, they'll fix it. They'll fix that issue. I have no
I'm
doubt.
sure. I'm sure
I've always
that.
hated that though in RE5 original.
Yeah, I'm sure that they'll have. If they did a remake, they would have the new game plus.
Yeah.
I think that they would probably keep it closer to the formula of Resident Evil 4 remake.
Resident
They.
4 remake mixed with RE5 original is what I hope RE5 remake is going to be, basically.
It's exactly what I was about to say. Um. Anyway,
Excuse me.
RE5 original is
A good game,
a game that's very much mechanically like RE4.
except you have two people
It's
now, and you
still
can
kind
play
of
with another
tanky
person.
controlly.
Yep.
And there's really not a camera system, is there? You know what I mean? Like
Well, I
you
mean,
just kind of
yeah, I don't know.
there kind of is, but like if you use if you use the thumbstick, which is I guess the preferred method for me in this one, as opposed to the original 4 where I prefer to use the directional pad, like the camera kind of moves with you.
Mhm.
But if you use the directional pad, you can kind of move the camera around with you to look, this way or that. But it feels a little like sloppy and
A little bit.
like
It's funny that we
real.
just
It's
played like 20
yeah.
hours of this, and I've beaten it like 15 to 30 times in my life. I've lost count. I don't know. I've beaten it at least 20 times, I would say. And it's funny that I still can't remember. Like
No, I kind of remember because remember I was bitching.
we literally just played it together and put like 20
We
hours
did.
into it, and I'm forgetting things now about because I'm trying to think like how does the camera work in that game that I
Well,
literally just played 2 weeks ago.
So I know when you use the thumbstick,
Mm.
the camera
Yeah.
moves
Like-
and turns with you.
Yeah.
But if you use the directional pad, you have to use the camera button. But like I said, it's a little. It's really it's like sloppy. It's not as bad as RE6's camera, but it's a little more improved than Resident Evil 4. But it's not the greatest,
Yeah.
and it's not as bad as Resident Evil 6. I think that it controls basically the same though. It's kind of tanky a little bit. Can you move and shoot in this one?
Oh, God. Once again, we just put 20 to 30 hours into it, and I've beaten it so many times now. And I'm trying to. I can't remember. I can't think.
You can't remember.
I think
I don't
so.
remember if you can move and shoot. I think you can, but I don't. I'm not going to say for sure if you can.
I think you can like walk and shoot, but I could be wrong. I can't believe
Yeah,
we're
I don't.
Sorry, everybody. We're having such brain farts. I swear to God, though,
we've already established.
we literally
we're not,
just
like,
did
the greatest
two
at, like
playthroughs of this
things.
shit, and we were playing online. Not to mention, I've played this game, like I said, many times on the PS3. And then many times on the PS3 again when I made my new account, and many times on the PS4, and I can't fucking remember. I can't fucking remember.
Anyway,
it's crazy.
it's not a big deal.
I know. People are gonna think we're so dumb.
People will forgive you for not remembering. the point is like
I think you
definitely
can.
can
You
use
can though.
some.
I think you can.
I think it's definitely, yeah, I think it definitely could use an improvement
Maybe.
and more modern control scheme and handling as far as the thumbsticks
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. And yeah, like more like, because like Resident Evil 2 remake and 4 remake were real fluid, and like you could spin around and run the other direction on a dime. I'd like to be able to see that with Chris. And one of the big things that I'm wondering, what kind of face would they put on Chris for Resident Evil 5 remake? Would they probably? Hopefully, they would just go with the likeness from Resident Evil 8.
That's what I was
You know what I
saying.
mean?
Except make him obviously a little bit younger looking,
A little bit
like
younger,
Resident Evil 8 Chris,
and not so roided out though.
but like 10 years younger, and maybe a little less roided. Yeah, but maybe I don't know because they, like I said earlier, they want to keep the big fans of the original happy. So maybe they will make them jacked, and they're gonna keep the boulder punching in.
Yeah,
They are not taking. Nope, they are not taking.
I
I
think they
promise
would
you.
reference it.
I know.
I don't know.
If they
I think
take that
would
out,
reference it.
0 out of 10 remake. If they take the boulder punching out,
I think they would
no,
at least, at the very least,
they are
reference
gonna
it.
put it in because if they don't put it
You
in,
think they would?
I think they're going to because if they don't, fans are gonna be like, "What? The boulder punching?" Sorry,
Now,
I shouldn't have yelled. Sorry.
I, I like this version of Chris from Resident Evil 5.
Yeah, so do
He
I.
quickly became like I like
I think he's a fan favorite. Is the Chris
he is a
5.
fan favorite, definitely, for sure. I think the actor, I don't, if I botch your name, I'm sorry, sir. I think it's Roger Craig Smith plays him.
Yeah, which also he also voices Sonic the Hedgehog in some.
Does he really? Wow, I
Well,
didn't know that.
some of the Sonic games around that time period. I don't know which ones, and I
Yeah.
don't know if he still does. I don't think he still voices Sonic. I could be wrong, but I know at one point he also voiced Sonic the Hedgehog. And that's all I have to say about that. But I think
That's
you're
all
right.
I had to say about. Oh, I like Roger Craig Smith.
Yeah.
My personal favorite Chris Redfield,
Oh,
as you know, and I think the whole world knows, is Charlie Kraslavsky, and always will
of
be.
course.
He's the first. He's my
But
favorite.
yeah, you can't. I wasn't even thinking about him because he's on a whole level of his own.
He's on a level of his own. But if I had to, if I have to, yeah. All right. So if we want to go with the game
Original
though, games wise, my favorite Chris up until this point was definitely Joe White in the remake
of
Resident Evil 1.
Oh,
Of Resident Evil
Joe
1.
White did
and
Chris and RE1 remake?
Joe White did Chris Redfield in Resident Evil remake in 2002. Yes,
I did actually.
So he was that was my favorite version of Chris until this game, and I like this version of Chris because, well, I liked him all right. So I've always liked Chris Redfield. He's always been one of my favorites. He was never in my top 5. I'd say he was like 6.
He used to be my
on
favorite.
the list of characters. Yeah, but ever since I talked to Baggy from Bro, and she told me about the psychology of Chris. If you haven't made it through that whole episode, listen to her on the way she breaks down Chris, especially according to Resident Evil Village and Resident Evil Code
Veronica. I bet
Veronica.
half the shit she said I said to you too.
Well,
I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, I mean, well, about Village, yes.
Yeah.
About Village, but she put it in like a perspective that was kind of like from a different lens, and I'm like, I never really looked at Chris in that light in concordance with Village. But after hearing her talk about his motives, what she thinks his motives were in Village, I'm like, man, Chris is a fucking G, dog. And why he did what he did. Why he does what he does is because he, like she said, it's literally like the writers of each of the games that he's in are begging him to stand up against the current order because it sucks. To quote Baggy, what she said, he's standing up against corruption. Like it was shown and evident in Resident Evil 1.5 whenever he was arguing with Chief Irons about going back to the, investigating the mansion incident, and he wouldn't reopen them files. So he leaves to go to Europe on his own, which leads into this whole quest to bring down Umbrella. Nobody else was going to do it other than Leon, but Leon went the route of working for the government to bring them down. Excuse me. Whereas Chris went rogue, basically, like on his own over in Europe. And that leads us to RE5, where he ended up becoming a member of the BSAA. Because that's another thing, getting back to RE5, we're introduced to a new organization. He's no longer a STARS member. He's with the BSAA. and
Which is
he
the
is traveling.
what does BSA stand for? I can't remember. But
I, you know what? Our Resident Evil cards are being revoked because I don't remember what it stands
bitch
for either.
stupid ass.
It's got to be biohazard something. Biohazard
Biohazard
security. So
Rescue.
no, that's that's stars.
Wait, why did I say rescue?
Any
There's no R there. Sorry. Fuck. Maybe I should have written down notes.
Hey Siri, what does BSAA in Resident Evil stand for?
Let me see if I did write down notes.
The Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance.
Oh, never mind. There's no way I was getting
Bada
that.
bing, bada boom. There you go.
Sorry, I shouldn't have brought it. I won't bring up questions anymore that we don't know.
No, you're good. It's fine. I got a computer on my wrist now.
Oh,
Anyway,
nice.
okay, so he's with the BSAA.
That he is.
Okay, and they travel the world and they hunt down terrorist organizations of that use bioweapons to commit acts of terror. So basically, this game, Resident Evil 5, arguably Resident Evil 4, kicked off the bioterrorism era of Resident Evil
Yeah.
that we got across Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, and
Up until the
Revelations
E-Type.
1 and 2 also kind of.
Well, yeah, and our Revelations 1 and 2.
But yeah, so yeah, that just made me think. Maybe we should talk about some of the controversies with RE5. Do you want to address those?
I mean, a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. I don't really want to make this an episode about like Jacksepticeye being a fucking shithead.
I knew it. You were gonna bring him up. Yeah. Well, we'll just say that we think that a lot of the controversy is stupid, and that Capcom don't listen to all the haters and the people who are like, nah, racist RE5. Don't listen to them. Capcom, make the remake you guys want to make, and I'm sure it's gonna be a fucking phenomenal game. Capcom, just don't listen to the ignorant people out there.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I'm not going to bash on Jacksepticeye. I'm just going to bash on him for saying what he said about RE5 being unremakeable. Like, get fucked. It was a great game.
A great game.
They're going to remake this game.
Absolutely.
The only people that brought up the people that brought up the fact that you're a white character shooting black Africans, not just them, but other people too, because you have Arab looking and even Asian looking and even white looking Majini in this game.
And you know what? It doesn't even matter about the skin
only
color
people
anyways.
that thought that maybe need to look at themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
They're fucking.
When I played RE5 for the first time, I didn't have any of those thoughts. I was just like, "This is awesome. We're just fucking up."
It takes a person who has dark zombies to bring that shit up.
Yeah, we're fucking up zombies in a different part of the world that we've never been in before. This is fucking awesome. It wasn't until like a year or two later when I was online, and I think it was like screwattack.com. I don't know if you know who they are. They're old school, like from the late 2000s and the early 2010s. And they made a video about it or something, talking about it. I was like, wow, people thought this game was racist? It was like a year or two after the game came out. I was like, I didn't even know that. It was because like I had no idea. I never looked at it that way. I just looked at it as we're in a different place. We're in a different country.
We're in a different part of the world. I don't know. So like this is a real like it's a real controversial, it's a real touchy and a real divisive subject. So I will just say this, that it's a fucking Resident Evil game, and in the famous words of the guy who even voiced Josh Stone, just play the game.
Yeah, just play the game. Just fucking have fun. People people too often, especially nowadays, it's like they don't want to have fun. They are purposely trying to look for things in the game and shit on it.
Well, people have always done that about everything.
Yeah, but I feel like it's happening more nowadays with games and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
they're trying
to find reasons to not like it. They don't want to be happy.
Well, it's because we're coming out of this cancel culture bullshit.
Yeah, and people just having a hard. Go on.
I was going to say that topic deserves no more conversation from us. I really would like to get into the
game itself.
The game itself.
Yeah.
That the cold, or not the cold. I'm sorry. The what do they call that? Like when you're thrown into the fire right off there. So
kind of like RE4.
It's RE4. You just you travel into what? All right. What I love that you walk. I love the African setting, the scorched sun.
Yeah.
You're walking into this village, and there's fucking all these dudes around this like bag with like I think was it a dog or something in this bag or like a person or
I
something.
have no idea what it's in the
I think it
bag,
was
but
like a real. I think it was a bag with like a dog in it or something. It had like an animal. I want to say maybe it was an animal, and you could see the animal moving around, and they're kind of beating it
they're
with
beating the
sticks and
fuck
kicking
out of
at
it.
it.
Yeah, and then
And I'm just like, man, that's fucked up.
Chris walks up all bulky and shit with his boulder punching arms
And they
and
just
fucking ripped
stop and they
chest,
stare you
and
down,
they stare you down,
and they watch you walk
and
by,
it's like, oh, I fucking wish you
and
would.
then
Is what
it
Chris is
wastes no
thinking.
fucking time.
Yeah,
Bam!
and
Once
then
the merchant's killed,
then you meet the
the
merchant,
potential merchant,
get
bam! It throws you right into a fucking
RE4 style, like
mayhem.
yeah, where you have to just last. You're stuck in the little whatever building that you're in, and they're breaking in the Mahina or whatever they're called. They're breaking
The
in.
Magini,
Oh, the
yeah,
Magini. What did I say?
yeah,
Mahini? Is
Mahini,
it?
Mahina.
Is
It's Magini,
it Magini? Okay, well,
which is a Swahili word, I think.
I don't speak
Uh,
RE5. Just
yeah,
kidding.
well, it's a. I think Magini. I think Magini is a Swahili word.
Oh,
Even though I have a
I'm
computer on
ignorant
my
and all
wrist,
that.
we're
I
not
don't.
going to ask. We'll just assume that it is,
I'm not very
and it
knowledgeable.
probably stands for maybe it stands for zombie or something of that nature.
Well,
Anyway,
whatever they are, they all start like
yeah,
bombarding you and breaking in, just like in RE4. All the villagers were chasing you in RE4. The Magini are chasing you in
yeah.
RE5, and then comes the big boy who takes the place of the chainsaw guy from RE4. The
Now
big,
he's this big, lumbering, tall dude with like a
yeah.
bag on his head as well.
He's also the guy that cut off the merchant's head.
What weapon is he wielding? Is it a
I
fucking
don't.
chainsaw as
Uh,
well?
no, it's like a big ass like axe or something.
Like a big axe?
A
Okay, that's
big
what I thought.
axe or a big hammer. I don't know what it is actually. It's a really
Yeah,
big one of those two
melee
things.
weapon.
Yeah, like ginormous. And then so not only do you have all the regular Magini running around, but you have him as well. So it's really hectic, and you got to wait for whatever the guy's name is in the helicopter to get there. And it takes like a good 5 to 8 minutes, and yeah, it's a very awesome way to start a game. So we now have RE4 starting it
It's
that
very
way.
intense.
RE4 remake, RE5, RE8 started out with a section like that with all the lichens. There's a lot of Resident Evils that start out their game like that, and it's all thanks to RE4. RE4
Thanks
popped.
to RE4,
It's
yeah. I mean, because
that just shows you how
that's
much
so
people.
iconic.
Yeah, it's how iconic it was and how much people loved RE4. Um, but yeah, that section was great. But then it kind of calms down a little bit after that happens. You still get some pretty crazy fights, but not as crazy as that. Not for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you survive that, and then you move on.
Now this game, it basically it it is a continuation. Whoa, almost knocked my camera down here. It's a continuation of the story of Code Veronica. It's really not a direct continuation of Resident Evil 4. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
in the sense of the conflict between
Wesker
Wesker
and
and
Chris. Yeah,
Chris.
it's true.
But the Ouroboros is
Something.
definitely cultivated from the La Plaga, even though it's not as evident in the earlier game, but in the remake of 4, this is why I think they're going to be making a 5 remake
No, they
next,
are. They are.
because they very much connect Resident Evil 4 with the addition of Wesker being there on the island, extracting Krauser's body,
Yep.
even the little reference to local
Do you
saturation,
remember,
all that.
like, almost a year ago, or like several months ago, before you finished the RE4 remake DLC?
You were saying
I
this.
was saying that I think I
Yeah.
want them to do a Code Veronica remake next, but I think they're going to do an RE5 remake next.
And I think you're absolutely right on that. Anthony
But at the
agrees
time,
with,
you didn't
with
think
us as
that.
well.
At the time, you disagreed, along with
And I
like
think
two other people in my
well,
chat.
I hadn't played the game in its entirety.
Right, exactly. And I was like, I'm telling
I
you.
was really fucking set on thinking, well, because Code Veronica won that poll, that should be the next shoe to drop. Well, I think it will be a shoe to drop, just not
Yeah,
the
exactly.
next shoe to drop. I really believe the next shoe to drop is going to be RE9 and RE5.
Yeah, RE5 remake. That's what I was going to say. I do think, regardless of what order we get
and a
them.
1, 2, 3 remaster.
Oh yeah, if they don't put that out by next year, then I give up on Capcom. To be honest, like
Yeah.
it should have been the 25th year anniversary.
Well, it'll
Surprise
be
for
the
us.
30th year.
It
And
better be.
I'm
It
sorry to
fucking
cut
better
you
be.
off.
Yeah, what's up?
I'm sorry to cut you off,
Mhm.
but I think that the 30th anniversary makes sense because it's
Oh,
it's the years end in 96 to
it does make sense,
2026.
but it's just annoying because we should have already had a remaster for RE1, 2, and 3 5, 6,
Yeah.
7, 8 years ago even. We should have had a remaster collection already. That's the
I think
problem I
now's the
have.
kind of the time to do it, the
Now,
momentum
now is
high.
we don't have it
It's
yet,
absolutely the
dude.
time.
Every day that goes and we don't have it, then the next day is the time to have it. So we don't have it today. Tomorrow we should have it. We absolutely should get it tomorrow. If we don't get it tomorrow, then we absolutely should get it the next day. Basically, what I'm saying is, every day we don't get it is just a punch to my gut and heart because we should have
Yeah.
had it a long time ago. But yeah,
Well,
I agree.
I didn't mean to cut you off earlier, but you were trying to say something else
Yeah,
about
I was.
RE5 moving on.
Well, I was just saying that regardless of what order they put these games out, I think it's guaranteed we're going to get RE5 remake, RE0 remake, and RE Code Veronica remake. Now,
I think we're going to get one remake as well.
we'll probably get another RE1 again.
As long as they're
I
printing
think
fucking
that,
money from these games,
yeah,
they're going to keep on pumping them out.
But since we already have an RE1 remake, I think that's going to be like way down the road, like maybe like 8 years from now or something, or 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be RE9 next, then RE5 remake, and then hopefully a remaster.
So you agree with me on that?
Yeah, that's what I've been saying.
You think it'll be not? You think 9 will be the next shoe to drop? I absolutely think it will
well,
be. I mean,
it could be RE5 remake before RE9, but I don't know.
It's going to be one of those
two, yeah, probably,
Yeah,
most likely. But even though they kind of skipped over Code Veronica, I still think they're going to do a Code Veronica remake. It might be a couple of years, is all. And
Yeah,
I think there will be
well.
an RE0 remake. I actually think there's a good case in saying that there's like a good what's the word I'm looking for? There's good reason to believe that an RE0 remake actually might be the next remake to drop. I've heard a lot of people saying online like RE0 is going to be the next one, and I don't know if that's going to be true or not. I could see that. So who knows? I don't know. I think it's going to be RE5 remake though, but it could be RE0. But no matter what it is, my point is that no matter what the next remake is, the other two will follow shortly after, I think. So let's say it's RE0 remake that drops next year. I think we'll get RE5 and RE Code Veronica remake the next couple of years after that. Or if it's RE5 remake that drops next year or this year or whenever, I think we'll get the other two remakes. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we'll get all of those remakes sometime in the next 5 years. We'll get all three of those remakes sometime in the next 5 years. I truly believe that.
So let's get back to
Yeah.
this a little bit of this conflict in this story because it's an important one. And like I said, we have we're not by no means experts in all the lore of the games. We enjoy the games.
I'm an expert at the gameplay itself, but
yeah, there are other fans in the community like the Batman from the Resident Evil podcast that are more erudite with their knowledge on the lore.
I like that.
Yeah,
word.
like very knowledgeable.
It's a good word.
Yeah. Well, thank Beggy for that. She kind of taught it to me because she was very eloquently spoken.
Yeah.
And anyway, like I said, we're not the most knowledgeable, but what I do know is that this game was set up from the conflict with Wesker was set up in Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil Code Veronica and it's what really kind of like lets you know that Wesker really has hatred for Chris, and Chris really has this vitriol for Wesker for his betrayal. So this conflict was an epic fucking showdown. And honestly, I think that it was a big regret
that they
to
kill off it off in
Albert
5.
Wesker.
I think it was really dope that they finally got their big showdown.
I thought it was great at the time,
and
I'm sure Capcom did too.
But it kind of sucks that there was no more Wesker after that. But here's the thing: if they
but was there though?
If they
you know what I mean?
If they retcon it in the remake, then they're gonna have to completely retcon RE6 because Wesker is still gonna be there around. Then if they RE6 remake, I mean, if they do an RE6.
Well,
remake.
I don't know if they would retcon him, but there's a way to maybe resurrect him.
Yeah,
I know that
it's Resident Evil. You can't take it too seriously. Wesker dies in the first game, but nope, he's not actually dead. Ada dies in Resident Evil 2, but nope, never mind, she's not actually dead. For all we know, literally everybody who's ever died is still alive. Nikolai from RE3 is still alive.
Here's a good point. Okay, the Mandalorian, or not the Mandalorian. I'm sorry, Boba Fett. And so I know you don't know Star Wars,
I'm
but I
not a
also
big.
I love my Star Wars and my Indiana Jones shit because I love George Lucas. Grew up on it stuff. So just to tie this with a little bit of that, back in I think it was 1980 or 81 or whatever year Return of the Jedi came out. Return of the Jedi
Never seen Star
had
Wars.
they had a character called Boba Fett who falls into a Sarlacc pit and dies.
Yeah.
Apparently dies. Well, here we are 44, 43, 44 years later. They brought him back in a Disney fucking in a Disney for his own TV show. Apparently he didn't die off. So the point is, and because this isn't a Star Wars podcast, the point is anybody can do whatever they want with an IP. You don't have
Pretty
to.
much, yeah.
Yeah. You like somebody could appear. Hey, Wesker's a super fucking human bioweapon. Just because he had a lava bath doesn't mean
A
that he had
lava
to
bath
die.
with 2 rockets flown right to his face after they pummeled
Okay,
him
so
with
the
magnum and
rockets. Okay,
rifle ammo. Yeah.
the rockets probably would do him in because rockets are like
Fuck it, he's
OP
Wesker.
in this.
How about we just make him invincible? He just can't. He just can't. The rockets were like a punch to the face. Barely phased him. And the lava bath
Well,
was
here's
more
the
like a
problem
warm
with
bath
that
in your
though.
bathtub.
If you
He
make him
enjoyed it.
invincible, then you get no way for
Yeah,
the
I
heroes
was
to ever
joking.
resolve
I
conflict.
was joking,
No,
but
I get it. But there's a way. There's got to be a better way to handle Wesker's demise. Like looking back on it retrospectively, retconning him would mean resurrecting him, and I'm okay with that. I said in a previous podcast, and even what Beggy has hinted at, this is kind of like the premise of Resurrection. I don't know exactly what the story is, but Resurrection, the fan film that they're trying to get
oh right,
made,
sorry.
which I'll be putting links to that into the description of this podcast as well, because they're going strong with that campaign, and I'd love to see it come to fruition. I'm a backer now. I'm gonna probably donate some more here. My dad will. I'm trying to get my dad to donate a couple $100
Oh,
to it.
that's cool.
Anyway, she kind of hinted at like what their idea of resurrection means without telling me what it was. But I kind of just I think that they're going to do what we always wanted to see done, and that is a resurrection of Wesker. Like it can totally be a thing. He didn't have to be die out, but
They
there
could
would
do.
have to be more to it.
Yeah,
You know
they
what I'm
could do
saying?
like they
There
could.
would have to be a reason why he didn't die in a lava bath.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to ramble on
No,
and
no,
cut
no.
you
You're
off. What were you
fine.
going to say?
I wasn't really gonna say much. Just like, I mean, they could have it play out the same in the remake. I'm talking about. They could have it play out the same as in the original, except maybe have like a post-credit scene, and maybe have him like at the very end show his arm reach out of the lava or
Yeah,
something like that, and just to
yeah,
imply
coming
that
up out of
he
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
die or something, and then
yeah.
that way it'll be open ended, and like
That would be fucking like they could have did that in the first one. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
just so that
In
there's
the
a
original.
possibility if they wanted to bring him back, they could. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
It doesn't matter.
anyway,
You know
this
what?
conflict between
Just like I always say, as long as the RE5 remake is fun and enjoyable, and I have a fun
yeah.
time with it, that's all I truly care about. Just like with the original, it's fun. I love it. It's a fun game. That's the thing I care about the most. So do whatever you want with the characters. I love the characters. Do whatever you want with them, but just make sure the game is fun to play. That's all I truly care about. Me personally.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and not to continue on with the conflict of Wesker and them, because like there's other aspects of this game we can touch on. I want to see what Wesker retconned, his death retconned out in the remake. I think I was sorely missed. He was sorely missed after his death,
Of course he was.
and Capcom have been chasing him for
You know,
a long
but
time.
on the other hand,
But
if we keep Lester alive even after RE5, it's like then we have no chances to get new villains. Like we would have never got Jack Baker or Lady Demetress.
well, they don't do nothing with their new villains. Is what I like. I
I
was trying to
disagree
say
with that.
earlier.
Jack Baker was one of my
They,
favorite villains in all of
well,
RE.
no, I mean but they killed him off.
Jack
They
Baker?
killed him off.
Did they?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Well, Joe Baker killed him. His brother
Yeah,
did,
yeah. I'm just
for
fucking with
sure.
you. Yeah, but that's fine because it was a one and done, and that was great. That's kind of so. And then in RE8, we got more villains that were great. Well,
They had
two
a
of them were
fucking
great.
perfect
Lady D
opportunity.
and Heisenberg were great.
Yeah. Well, I'm going back to like Revelations, they had a perfect opportunity with a great fucking villain to replace Wesker with Martin Lansdale.
Eh,
And they didn't do it.
yeah.
I think they
Well,
did,
that's
man.
kind
I
of
think Martin Lansdale was a fucking or is it Martin? No, it was. Yeah, it is Martin
whatever his
Lansdale,
name
isn't it?
is. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Lansdale.
Lansdale, whatever.
Anyways, Lansdale was a great villain. You know what I mean? He was great. He could have like they were setting up this whole BSAA betrayal thing, which we got to in Resident Evil 7 and 8, but they never fucking did nothing with Lansdale after Revelations 1.
Yeah.
You know, and kind of the same thing with Alex Wesker, even though she was a little less memorable for me.
Yeah,
But
definitely. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're gonna start tying some of those Revelations stuff in RE9 and some of the
I
stuff
think
from.
they oughta.
They might. You never know. But eh. Anyways, if you want to end this in an hour, we only have 15 minutes. We haven't even talked about like any of the actual game.
Well,
Like some
yeah,
of the some of the some of the RE5 characters like Irving, everybody's favorite.
Let's get to Irving
Everybody's favorite villain, the guy that talks like. Oh man, I was gonna replicate his voice, but I don't even know if I could do it. Like, how does he
He
sound?
looks like Steve Buscemi
And
mixed with
he's like, "Hey, Chris, you know, we're gonna like he talks like that, kind of. I can't do it justice, but I love him, but I hate him at the same
he's got
time.
like this Boston, Brooklyn type
He's
New
so
England accent.
silly and ridiculous, but
He's silly.
he's so stupid.
That boss fight with him was fucking incredible. That's one of the best moments in the game.
You think so?
On the boat, yeah. Oh
He's
yeah.
all right.
I think it's one of the best. I like all the boss events in this game pretty much. I like the fight with Irving. I like the fight with the troll. The fucking.
See, that's what I was gonna say.
El
I
Gigante.
actually don't prefer the fights that where you're stuck on a turret and can't move. I prefer boss fights where you actually get to use your own inventory and stuff.
Like the giant bat.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like I prefer fights where you're actually using your own when you're sitting there on a turret, just shooting away at the same thing, and you have no control of where you can move. That's actually what I don't prefer. Speaking of the troll boss, though, that you were talking about, the El Gigante or El Gigante, whatever.
El Gigante.
That's basically what he was, right? From RE4, same guy.
Yeah.
That fight on professional was one of the hardest moments in Resident Evil 5. It is.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, when I'm telling you, when we get to it, I'm telling you, it's going to take us a few tries to beat him. I had to fight him without a person helping me, though. I had to fight him with the AI, and I couldn't do it. So then I hopped online and found somebody, fortunately, to help me out and help me do it. Because if you don't have, if you're using the AI partner for that part on professional. On any other difficulty, the AI partner is fine, but on professional, you have to be perfect, and I mean perfect at the fight. Otherwise, because he hits you like twice and you're dead, maybe 3 times. Like you don't get very much health because he's one stomp from him and it takes like half your health. So those fights are fine though. I'm not like they're fine. The ones that are being on the boat, they're all right. Yeah, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying
I was about to say, it keeps in line with like what was going on with video games in the mid 2000s.
Around that time there were lots of games with turret fights and stuff where you
turrets and like I'm
kind of glad that I'm kind of glad that that's going away though in the video game world. Except funny enough, Doom: The Dark Ages.
I haven't experienced it. I've only played the first 2 maps, but I've watched people play plenty of footage on it on Twitch.
You're only
because everybody's playing
the way through it.
It's all there is to watch on Twitch. Everybody's playing Doom: The Dark Ages.
Anyways, so about RE5, let's talk about like enemies and like stuff like that. Like I think the enemy variety is good in RE5. They bring back some classics, like the lickers are back in the game, and they're kind of annoying, but they're fun to fight. I think they did a good job with the lickers.
That portion where you're in the Trisol labs, and like there's all the room full of lickers, and you got to sneak by that. Shit
and you walk in and you see they're like testing on other animals like dogs and armadillos or whatever, like other fucking. There's like a bunch of different like goats and shit. I can't remember what other animals.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool to see. And then they all escape, of course, naturally, because you have to make noise to open that final door, and then they're all coming after you. Like, imagine if on RE2 original you had that many lickers in front of you, like 8 or 9 or 10 lickers.
Oh my god,
there'd be no way.
Fucking terrible.
Yeah, there'd be no way.
Because you can't really sneak by them fuckers, man. They come straight for you, even if you try to walk right by them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've tried multiple times to walk by plenty. Like, let's take for example the ones downstairs in the basement at RPD, like before you get to the kennel where the autopsy room is. You can't
you're
sneak
talking
by
about
them fucking
you're
things.
talking about remake.
No, I'm talking about in Resident Evil 2 original.
Oh, are you?
When you're down in the RPD's basement, you go down the stairs and you get into that
I know what
hallway and
you're
you
talking
come
about
and
now.
there's a
Yeah,
hallway
I
where
know
the
what you're talking
dogs originally
about.
are. When you
That
come back, there's
yeah,
lickers.
that happens in the remake too, so it's kind of hard to
And you
tell.
can't walk by them.
Yeah.
There's no walking by them.
You can kind of, but yeah, they will.
I can't.
If you get too close though, or if you do anything other than slowly walk, they will see you. But yes, even if you're walking as slow as you can, if you get too close, they'll see you, and then you just got to book it or fight 'em.
I've never been able to sneak by them two lickers in that hallway. Anyways, they're back in this game, and there's a shit ton of them, and they are fucking terrifying when they come running after you.
But I think they do a good job
Whenever
with
you
them
make that
because
noise.
they have their liquor, tongue that latches onto you, and that gives you an opportunity to have your partner help you out. So just another reason why the
To play
the
co-op.
co-op works, yeah, because
Yeah, but the computer, she's pretty good at rescuing
she
you.
is, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, I'm gonna put it out there again. I don't think the AI in RE5 is nearly as bad as most people make it out.
Well,
to
she's
be.
only bad with the item management. She's wastes ammo.
Probably,
That's the only problem.
A lot of
I've ever
but a
had.
lot of the stuff, like when you're driving around on the boat in like chapter 3, or I can't remember what chapter it is, but when you're driving around on the boat, remember, and you have to go to like 3 or 4.
I like that
spots.
section. A lot of people hate it too.
When you have Sheva being controlled by the AI and she has to pull off shots while you're driving real fast, she nails those shots, dude.
Every shot,
She
every
nails
shot.
them. She's like, I don't think like, I swear, like, anybody listening, next time you play RE5, maybe give it a try on like a normal difficulty or something, playing with an AI Sheva if you haven't done it in a really long time, and maybe you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, it's not as bad. She's far from perfect. There are very serious flaws, of course, but she's not as bad as people make it out to be. You can easily get through that game with an AI partner instead of a real life partner. But I will say, I do think this game is better with a good friend, playing it with a good friend or someone who's really good at the game.
Absolutely.
I would go as far as to say
110,000%.
this is one of the best co-op games of all time, not just of like.
Arguably,
I think
I could make a case for Resident Evil Outbreak File 1 and 2.
Yeah,
But-
well, that's only a co-op game though. Like, but yeah, sure.
I
yeah.
mean, you can play it by yourself offline. I've done it.
I haven't played it that
As a
much.
matter
so
of fact,
don't know.
I intend to get a PlayStation 2, and I'm going to go buy that game somewhere.
So
because
yeah,
it's only
you're right.
25
Actually, now that I
bucks.
think about it, you're right. But
And
yeah,
I'm going to play it all. I'm going to do it by myself. I know people that have done it solo, and I've done it solo. It's really hard, but I've done it solo. But I
barely
think
ever
that
played
this one
Outbreak.
edges out Outbreak absolutely 1,000%.
do you?
Resident Evil 5 edges out Outbreak as far as like
I wish they would re-release Outbreak. God, I can't believe they haven't done
co-op
that.
friendliness.
Yeah.
I wish they would too, but who knows?
A few
Now's
other
the
cool
time to do
things.
it.
There was these enemies that go, the enemies with the mask thing on that are
The
like, is
Depaya.
that what they're called? I don't know.
Yeah,
And
they're called
I think
the
that's
Depaya.
another race thing that people got upset about. Whereas I was sitting there playing it for the first time, didn't even remotely cross my mind that it was like, that people were going to think that was racist. All I saw was, oh, this is a cool enemy. Oh, wow, he's got a lot of health too, so I get to use some stronger weapon on him. That was my thought process when I played all that for the first time.
Yeah,
They're fun to
I
kill.
I didn't think about that shit either.
I really didn't.
Said,
but on
man,
the other, but I was only like 18.
People can suck, dude. It is what it is.
17, something like that. Yeah. Or no,
Yeah,
I was
think
19.
I was
19. A year after I
What was
graduated.
that? 20? It came out in 09?
And I graduated in 08, so yeah, I was 19 years
So
old.
I would have been 29 when this game came out, or close to 29.
Yeah, it makes sense. You are almost.
I would have
10
been
years old.
almost 20. I would have been 28. I was 28 when this game came out, I believe.
Anyways, I think some of those sections, like where with the fire coming down, are kind of meh, but they're not bad, And it kind of reminds me of the fire sections from RE4, where you have to snipe the dudes controlling the dragon fire.
Going back to that section real quick though, before you get there, the fucking that area when you're on the boat,
Yeah,
when you're riding around before you get to that section,
and you go to Chicken Island.
you go to Chicken Island.
Well,
the fucking alligators,
The alligators,
man.
yeah, they used to
They're
be a pain in the ass.
No,
but
they're crocodiles. They're crocodiles. They're
whatever,
crocodiles.
whatever.
Woo! Holy shit!
They can be a pain in the ass, but
that's intense.
I know
especially on pro.
I know their pattern now, and not only that, but I feel like they're not as as long as you don't freak out, they're not that hard to get away from. I don't remember the last crocodile death I've gotten in that game. It's been a long time. I usually can just run right by them. But then again, I have played the game like 20 to 30, maybe even more than that. I've played it a lot of times in my life, so. But for someone playing it the first time ever, I could see you easily dying to the crocodiles.
How did you like the temple section?
I like every section pretty much in the game to a degree. The temple. Are you talking about what I was just talking about with the guys and the fire?
Well, are they in there too? Yeah, they're down there too.
And where the
Because
fire?
they can they're also found. Remember in the part where you have to lower the bridge or whatever, or you have to crank the thing and it moves like this. One partner has to crank and the other partner has to be.
I think there might be.
They're also there.
I think those type of enemies are there. I don't know if there's any of the big ones though that make that noise. In that.
There's and that also has a spike trap.
And there's also crocodiles. The person that's on the little ramp that you're moving, the little raft.
Yeah, it has to dodge crocodiles.
But it's easy though. It's easy. It's really not that hard.
No, the temple. I'm talking about the temple where they use the sun to turn it into a laser. That shit was pretty intense too. That whole section there reminded me of like some Indiana Jones.
Are you talking about the puzzles where when we played it, I had you just stand up waiting, and I did
lift me up, and I had to go get like the pieces to the door.
That part was kind of cool because you had to actually think about it. It was kind of cool for a little puzzle section to break up the monotony.
So once you get through that, it takes you down. Is that where we're introduced to the flower?
I think so. It's around there. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's also
we're introduced to this flower that were who was James Marcus and Ashford and Spencer all harvested the progenitor virus from.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And they find
out I said, we're not the most knowledgeable on the lore, but we know a bit of it. So
yeah, the flowers are the cause of it all, or whatever.
The flowers are the cause of all of this.
But whatever.
Hey, I never made sense to me, but I guess it can. I don't know. I'm not a botanist and I'm not a virologist. But hey, it works. It's cemented in the lore now.
But yeah, let's talk about a few other bosses. There's that boss where you have to throw grenades in its mouth, and it's kind of like a spider boss shaped, that leeches on where you're on that circular platform. You got to throw grenades in its mouth, and you got to shoot its like claw things and stuff. That boss is kind of annoying.
I like that fight too.
It's all right, but it can be frustrating. But there's also the big boss where you have to get that laser gun, and you remember it has those big, like, sprouting, bright orange, like, mushroom-shaped things, and you got to target the laser sight on it, and then when it's ready to go, you shoot it, and it destroys it. That boss also, same thing. Like, it's a fine boss fight, I guess, but also, I don't know. I prefer boss fights.
You're talking about is that the fight where Alexa Gione transforms into
I think so. I think it's shortly after that or something. I think. Yeah.
That laser you're shooting down on the ship or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that Alexa or Axella Gione?
I can't remember. It might be because she did transform.
I'm pretty sure it is. Because Wesker injects her, and then the Ouroboros rejects her.
And then she's like,
and then she turns into that big.
I can't believe you would do this, Wesker, as if like
that's
Wesker isn't the most
Alexa,
scumbag person ever.
I keep calling her Alexa. Axella,
yeah.
That's basically Axella Gione, yeah. That's a really good fucking fight. I remember I got killed because I was lingering down on the bottom deck. You're like, no, you got to come up here.
Yeah, come up here. But yeah, also, I can't remember if it's after or before that. I think it's after. We also have a boss fight, a 2-on-2 fight. Chris and Sheva versus Wesker and Jill. And it's not like transformed Wesker or anything. It's just straight up Wesker. And what's cool about this fight is all you have to do is wait it out. But if you have a rocket launcher and you can somehow get away from Wesker and hide, and if he doesn't know where you're at and he turns the corner, you can quickly like pop out from the corner, shoot the rocket at it, and he'll catch it, and then you got to quickly shoot him. And if you do that, it doesn't kill him, but you defeat him, and he runs away. And if you do that, you get one. That's the only way you can get the Heart of Afker, I think it's called, the white gemstone that's shaped like a heart. That's that's another thing. The hearts, the gemstones. I love the gemstones that you get in this game. There's so many of them. Like there's so many different like things you can sell, and I think it's so cool. Like, because you know how there's like the diamond version, the red version, the ruby, like the emerald, the sapphire, and like the topaz yellow versions. I think are the 5 colors. of the, you know what I'm talking about, the gemstones that you sell.
Yes.
There's like
Yeah,
five
they're
different. There's
like
five.
shaped like hearts, and then
Yeah, but then there's
you
also other ones that are shaped differently, like diamonds, and there's other ones that are shaped like little teeny ones. There's five colors for each of those, and
yeah.
I always thought that was cool. Trying to find all those, and I just love that whole system of selling those things to get money to upgrade your weapons and shit, and
See,
to
that's
buy stuff like buy first aids and stuff from the store. But I think it would have been better if it was an actual merchant, like we were saying earlier, instead of just doing it in the menu. But I understand why they did it that way, though. But hopefully, we'll see. Maybe they'll rectify it and change it up in the remake, where there'll actually be a merchant. Um, but yeah, that fight though, you either wait out the 7 minutes for Wesker to leave, or you do the rocket strat, knock him out, so you can get your
that's where you can get the if you run into the maze, you can get
lightning hawk,
the lightning hawk.
the
Yeah.
magnum. Yeah,
I
but
was going to
then
say, see, this is something that we didn't really bring up. Was like this game kind of sets up Chris. Excuse me. This game kind of sets up Chris uh, as losing Jill.
yeah,
She dies,
quote
and
unquote.
that's how he's partnered up with Sheva, and that whole storyline when we get to it's revealed that this sort of like right hand man uh to Wesker, this character in a cloak with a what looks like a like a old Renaissance doctor's mask, sort of, like it's got the beak. Turns out to
Yeah,
be Jill Valentine, and she's under mind control with
which I'm
this
not
like
gonna
little
lie,
device.
I didn't see coming the first time I played it, but I'm also very dense and don't pay attention to shit sometimes.
Yeah,
A lot of people said it was very obviously going to be Jill, and looking
yeah,
back on it, I can see why they say that.
yeah,
It is pretty obvious that who else is it going to fucking be? But yeah, then we have to fight.
exactly.
Then we actually have to fight Jill.
This fight with Jill,
Yeah,
once you free her, leads into two of the best DLCs in all of Resident Evil history with um, Desperate Escape
Desperate Escape and Lost
and
in Nightmare.
Lost in
Lost in
Nightmares.
Nightmare is a really cool DLC because,
Yes,
well, you're the one who loves that one. Well, I like it too, but you can go. You can take
I
me down
love
that one
Lost
if
in
you want.
Nightmares. It's probably my favorite DLC, right behind Separate Ways.
I like it, but it's not my favorite DLC. If we're talking like in RE history,
In RE history,
my
my two
favorite,
favorite DLCs. I know yours all come from Resident Evil 7,
yeah, RE7
but
and
my
Separate
favorite,
Ways.
yeah, I've only played a couple of the RE7s. I have the gold edition, haven't even cracked it yet.
I have more time on Ethan
Um,
Must Die than I do in the main game at this point, probably now,
yeah,
which is saying a lot because I have like 300 hours on the main game, which means I probably have close to 300 hours on Ethan Must Die. Probably like 200 actually. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. It's not important.
yeah. I like the Desperate Escape, or I'm sorry, I like Desperate Escape too. I like
Yeah,
the Lost in
it's pretty
Nightmares
fun.
because it's in a mansion.
Yeah,
And if you try to leave three times, you can put it in
the classic
fixed camera
camera angle.
angles.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
lot,
that's what makes it my
and
favorite,
what's
is
cool about
because of
these
those two
what's
reasons.
cool about these DLCs is that it kind of panders to two different kinds of fans. Like the Desperate Escape is for fans of the more action-oriented Resident Evil style, because that's all it is just fucking shooting the hell out of a bunch of Magini and stuff. Whereas Lost in Nightmare, it panders more to the classic style, where it's more survival horror, where there's barely any enemies and you don't get a whole lot of ammo and stuff, but you have to survive and do puzzles and shit. So Lost in Nightmare is more of like an old school puzzle, survival horror, whereas Desperate Escape is more like RE4, RE5, straight up action. So it's cool that both DLCs are like they're different. You know what I mean? They're like,
Yeah.
but
Man, I
but
thought I
I
was
but
going
I
to sneeze for a second
but
there.
I like both styles, which means I like both DLCs. And then there's also the Slayers and Team Slayers mode where you can go online and play against other people. That shit was fun back in the day, but nowadays it's not so much fun because there's barely anybody that plays anymore, and the only people who play nowadays are like people who probably do nothing but play that. So when you find a match nowadays, it's like you're playing against people who have thousands of hours on that shit. But back when RE5 first came out, I did the online for Slayers and Team Survivors and stuff like that, and it was really fun. It was a really fun online mode for RE5. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I just wanted to give that a shout out real quick.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I only played the 2, so I never really got into like the mercenaries modes and all that.
I usually love most mercenaries modes in pretty much
Yeah.
every Resident Evil game.
I'm not a competitive gamer at all.
I love doing that shit. It's fun. Some of them are more fun than others. Like RE4s is more fun than RE8s, but RE8's mercenaries is pretty fun though. Anyways, you have to yank the thing off of her to get her free of Wesker's spell, and then that's when you go face Wesker for the final time. You got to shoot rockets at him again, and then blow the rockets up in his face, and then you got to inject him with...
Drop him into the lava bath in the volcano.
Yeah, the whole
This is
thing.
the famous Boulder punch scene.
That's what I wanted to get to, yeah. After you do all that and you inject them, and you crash land in a volcano, which is absolutely just the most absurd thing in the whole game. Being in a volcano... Like, let's say that was real life. They would be dead, right? They would have been dead from the crash. But even if they survived the crash, you can't be in a volcano like that, right? And survive. Like, they would be burnt to a crisp, right? Just standing in a volcano.
Yeah.
Like, that's so unrealistic. But, it's Resident Evil. It's goofy. Who cares? As long as it's fun. And it is fun. And then Sheva and Chris get separated Sheva and Chris get separated while Wesker's chasing them. And then we get the classic Chris boulder punching where you got to mash, and then it eventually the prompt changes to punch, and you do it, and that's where we get the legendary boulder punching Chris. The meme.
That boulder punching asshole.
The most legendary version of Chris. Punches the boulder, gets Sheva to help him out, and then you have one last standoff with Wesker. You get him, but then you get on the chopper, and then you realize he's still alive in the lava, and then they were like, let's fucking just finish this once and for all. They both grab a rocket launcher.
The old classic RPG.
Yeah, they both grab an RPG and shoot him and take him out, and that's happily ever after. Everybody wins.
I always thought Chris looked a little funny, like his head looked like it was too small for him.
It's because he's fucking jacked. Oh, speaking of that, I also think Jill looks funny in this game, and it's not just because of her hair, although that is a part of it. Like, it's whatever. Like, but visually, this is my least favorite version of Jill Valentine, because when I think of Jill, I don't think of blonde hair, and plus, it's not even just her hair.
I don't mind it.
I think her face looked a little... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not just the hair.
Well, it's the same actress that played her in the remake. It's based off of the...
Whatever it is, I don't care.
Which is my favorite...
It's my least favorite version
She's my favorite video game. Jill is Julia Voth. I love her.
What did she do? She played Jill in...
She played Jill in Resident Evil Remake and Resident Evil 5, I believe.
I like her. Sure. I like her better in Remake then, because
at least her likeness.
Yeah, like her. Yeah. I got you. I don't know. I just think Jill in all the other games she has like a brunette, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess the blonde hair wasn't doing it for you with her. That didn't bother me none.
I think
they were just trying to do something different.
Right.
And then,
plus,
I don't know.
And plus, she was like, quote unquote, evil.
They're trying to make it like all the lore and the lore of the shock of being abducted.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really not that big of a deal.
That's really kind of scientifically true.
Yeah. To anybody who's listening.
I think they just did it. I think they just did it just to change up something. That's the way that...
Probably, but to anybody who's listening, I'm not saying, like, I would never take off points from this game just because Jill has blonde hair. Like, I'm being a super nitpicky asshole right now when I say that. It's not a big deal at all. Like, I'm just saying I prefer Jill from the other games where she has, like, the brunette. It's just because that's what Jill looks like to me. This Jill in RE5 with the blonde, like, it was just like, that's kind of weird. But I'm being a nitpicky asshole. It's really not a big deal. It's fine either way. I'm just saying that in my personal preferences, this is my least favorite version of Jill. But whatever. It's no big deal.
Anyway, what do you want to score to this game, my friend, before we wrap this up?
On a scale of 1 to 10, well, I feel like it's very similar to how I scored Resident Evil Village. I believe I said with Village anywhere from an 8 to an 8.5, and I couldn't make up my mind. That's kind of how I went this game. I'm going to say 8.5 out of 10 for RE5. I think it's a solid 8.5 out of 10. I really like the game. Not my favorite, but yeah, I still love it.
Okay, that's fair enough.
So I'm
I
gonna
have
say
a little bit
8.5.
more of a complex score myself. I'm gonna give you a retroactive score, and I'm gonna give you a score nowadays. Retroactively looking back on the game, or well, playing retroactively going back in time, at the time, I would have scored the game about a 7.58.
So would I
Okay.
at the time
Yeah.
when it first came out.
At
You
the
mean
time. Yeah, when it
when
first
it
came
first
out.
came out? Yeah, I probably would have given it like a 7 or 7.5.
Yeah, but learning more about the game, the lore, and then
Playing it a
actually
bunch
going
more.
back and yeah, and playing it with friends and actually experiencing it the way it's meant to be, I give the game a solid 8.
That's fine. That's fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, I would say like an 8.25 or maybe an 8.5, somewhere in that range. Like 8.25 or 8.5, I think is what I would get RE5 because I don't know. Every time I play it, I enjoy it. It's not my favorite in the series, but it's a damn good game, and I think it deserves to be praised as one of the best, as one of the better co-op games. And that's
Absolutely.
coming from someone who
It's
only
a
did.
damn good RE game.
Yeah, and that's coming from someone who only did the co-op thing like 2 or 3 times with 2 or 3 different people. I say 2 or 3. The third person, we did a few levels in co-op. We didn't do the whole game.
Yeah.
You and one
The
other
only
friend of
reason
mine, we
why I
did it.
won't give this game like a 8.5 or a 9 or a higher score is because it kind of got away from the horror
Yeah,
element, like the
exactly. Yeah,
horror,
yeah, yeah.
and that's what slips it off for me.
That's
But
what
what
made
it
me want.
makes up for, what it lacks in horror, it makes up for with pure fucking action, which is
Exactly. Yeah,
fine by me.
yeah, and that's why I was saying when it first came out, it was by far my least favorite Resident Evil game when it first came out. I
Yeah.
liked it, but I wouldn't have given it anything higher than a 7.5. But over the
And
years,
honestly,
I've
looking
grown to
back,
like it
6
more.
coming out would bump the score up, right?
Yeah. RE6 coming
Way
out
up.
literally gave it another extra 0.5 to its score. So that's why I'm giving it an 8.5 instead of an 8 because
Yeah.
all thanks to RE6. Oh God, I can't wait till we get to RE6, that's coming next actually, isn't it? We're
Yeah,
gonna.
you
I
know
mean,
what? Let's just get it out of
we
the way.
should do
We'll
it.
do
We should do
RE6
it after
next.
5. Yeah, last
How
year.
about this? If I don't play it with you, you stream it and I'll watch it the whole time. Like, well, at least do a couple of the campaigns you like the most. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Just to touch up on it. That because it's contingent upon whether I can afford to buy it, and because I literally just spent money on this on the campaign, so that was my money I can spend on myself. And if I feel like playing it, which I really don't, I just got done playing it literally like 6 months ago,
same with me.
and
Yeah,
I can only play that game every couple of years, dude.
yeah.
You know,
The
like by a couple of years, I
RE6.
mean like once a decade.
RE6 is definitely not a game I play every year, but probably like every other year. I go back and
So if
play
you
it.
want to do like Leon's campaign
I'll
or
think about
Chris's
it.
campaign, I'll hang out in the chat and we can kind of like like play it together that way and that for the run up for the show. If I can't get it and we don't play it together, so at least we'll do that. You don't have to do the whole game. Just
Definitely
play
not.
some of it. You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
I literally
Right.
just so it's
It's
out
a
there.
long fucking game.
Yeah, exactly. And just so it's out there for people who are listening, I'll say it again. I played it twice, 2 full times. I'm talking about I did all 4 campaigns 2 times in a row. That was like 50 hours of gameplay I did of RE6, and this was at the end of last year. So what's today's date? Like fucking, it's May 23rd. So this was about 5 or 6 months ago.
I don't know.
It's about 6 months ago that I did RE6. So it's not like I haven't played it recently. So I have it all
Yeah, it's
fresh.
6:23.
I have it all fresh in my mind. So I don't really need to play it again for the podcast. But maybe I'll dip into it a little bit.
5:23.
Yeah. Anyways, um, yeah. So RE6 is next, and we also have the Revelations games to get to. What other RE games do we have that we haven't done? We have
Oh, a lot of them.
main.
We'll
I'm
we're gonna
talking
get to
about
all. I really want to
main.
do. I'm excited to play Revelations and talk about it.
I'm talking about the main
So,
entries though, like yeah, Revelations and Revelations 2. But after that, I
I
think
think just 6 is it now.
yeah,
6 is it,
and then Revelations and that yeah, that's it then.
and then Revelations, and then we have really
Oh no,
not much.
we didn't do RE0 yet, did we?
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I want to have Dwayne back on for that
Yeah,
one.
we didn't do RE0
Anyway,
yet. Shit.
yeah, we will.
All right, so it's good.
We're
We're
gonna get
good.
to all
Okay,
of
so we
that.
have a few left. We still have a few more to do.
We have a few
Yeah,
left.
yeah.
Uh, I got to wrap this up because I got to run.
Got things to do.
it's been a pleasure talking to you
Oh
about
yeah, brother.
RE5.
Yeah,
I do love this
I
game. It's
really
one of
do
my
too. Yeah,
all-time favorites, honestly.
it's
Even though
not
it's
mine,
not high on the score,
but I like
it
it.
is one of my all-time favorites because I love playing online with friends. It's
Yeah,
fucking a blast.
it's not one
It's
of
a
my all-time
blast.
favorites, but I do like it. It's actually out of all the numbered entries, it's actually probably my second or probably my third least favorite. I don't know because I feel like I might like it more than RE0, maybe. But the
Mhm.
only one that I definitely like it better than is RE6 for sure. I like RE5 more than RE6. That's the only one. But all the other
Oh,
ones
excuse me. It's definitely in my top 10. So if it
for
can make
RE
my top
games,
10, yeah, if it can make my top 10, and then it's my all-time
it
favorite.
might barely make my top 10 for Resident Evil games. I don't know.
It for sure makes my
It
top
probably
10.
it
It
probably
probably is in the ninth or 10th spot.
same with me. It probably is. I would have to think about it. Maybe
So,
maybe I'll make a list
yeah.
and then next time we do a podcast,
We're going to do that.
we'll
See,
share
that's
our
things we
list.
can do. We
Yeah, we
can
could.
make a tier list
Yeah,
of our
yeah,
favorite
yeah. We
games, and
should
then
do
we'll talk
that.
about
We
that.
should do that.
There's plenty of stuff we can come up with
Yeah.
once we get through the games. Anyway, my friend, I'm glad to have you back.
Hell yeah,
The
man.
Biohazard Bros are back together. I will be sitting down with Carl tomorrow to
Just
talk
you
about the
though,
day.
not me,
Yeah,
because
just
I'm a
me.
lame
So I
motherfucker.
have a bonus episode for everybody as well as this one whenever I pump them out.
Cause nobody likes me.
Nah, I'm sure people missed you, man. I'm sure people miss you. I miss you.
Yeah,
I love you. You're like my best friend, you
yeah. I
know?
love you too, brother.
Fuck, you know what I mean? I miss you. You know, it's not the same talking without you, you know, even though I had fun,
Yeah,
but it just is kind of a void is there when you're not around. So
I
anyway,
appreciate
we'll
that.
catch you guys the next time
Hell yeah.
at the Biohazard Bros podcast. We thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to go check out the Indiegogo campaign for the Resurrection of Biohazard story. The link will be in the description. They're up to about 43,000 right now in just 2 weeks, and we really hope to get that goal achieved. And my partner here is Colin 255 on YouTube
YouTube and
and Colin
Colin.
BFG 255. You can check his YouTube channel out.
Colin
For
with
those of you that
two
have found
L's.
us because of Anthony of LTRE,
Yep.
check out his channel. He does uploads gameplay footage of his games he plays, like Ethan Must Die and things like that. Doom, good stuff, good stuff. So
And it's with
we
two
thank you guys
L's.
for tuning. Yeah, that's Colin with two L's. I'm Kenjira80
Yeah,
on Twitch
that you are.
and Kenjira1980 on YouTube. We also are on Spotify at the Biohazard Bros podcast. And we thank you for hanging out with us today. And we will catch you next time on the next episode of the Biohazard Bros podcast. Peace.
Peace.
Biohazard Bros Podcast.